You?
Yeah, good. Nice to see you, bro.
No. Nice to see you, Prabhu. No, will be the new form of communication, I think, as the
It
months
is.
are increasing.
Yes. We are in a digital age now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
increasing digital age.
Yeah. So it's going to be digital Sangha.
Jai Hari Bol. So it's over to you now, Ragupati Prabhuji, to bless our ears with a transcendental katha of the month of Purushottam. Jai Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. ओम ज्ञान तिम्रान्धस्य ज्ञानंजन शलाख्य चक्षुर्मीलितमेन तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितमेन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सह रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादांश ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विश्वभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यः शुक्रभा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पुंगुं लंघयति गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं श्रीगुरुं देवतारं नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णवेष्टभूतले श्रीमद्गोपाल कृष्णवेष्टनाम पादसाहित्य में प्रकाशते प्रचार कृतवान् साधुभगवत्पाद नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णवेष्टभूतले श्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नमस्ते सारस्वती देव गौरवाणी विचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवाद पार्षद Hare Krishna. So again, very happy to have this opportunity to be in the association of the devotees in Coventry and speak on the glories of Purushottam Maas. So last week we discussed how Purushottam month personified approached Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha, and then Lord Vishnu, feeling very merciful on Purushottam month, then took her to Golok Vrindavan. So in Golok Vrindavan, then Lord Krishna bestowed his own name, Purushottam. In our Sampradaya, we worship three Purushottam, Maryada Purushottam, Bhagwan Shri Ram. Then Leela Purushottam, Bhagwan Sri Krishna. Then Prema Purushottam, Sri Gauri Sundar Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Krishna is known as Purushottama. And last week we read two verses from Purushottam Yoga chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, which describe Krishna as Purushottam. Janati Purushottam. Purushottam, Prabhupada says in the purport of those verses that he is the greatest of all. Mahato Mahiyan. So he is greatest of all. So having received a benediction, Krishna's own name, and the Lord says, Krishna says to Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, that this month has no shelter, so I'll give my own shelter. So Krishna accepted Purushottam or Malmas as one of his consort. So Krishna is the husband or the protector of this Malmas who became Purushottam. So the personality of this month his female personality, and Krishna accepted her as her consort. And he said that this month will have all the potencies of the Lord. So the kind of benedictions you can achieve from Krishna, all the benedictions, all the potencies are invested in this 1 month. Just like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nam Nam Kari Bahudha Niji Sarva Shakti, that Krishna's holy name has been invested all Krishna's energies. Now, how many energies Krishna have? Parasya Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate, unlimited. So many. So all those energies are invested in the holy name. And similarly, all the energies of Krishna, all the potencies of Krishna are invested in this 1 month. So this month can give all the benedictions that Krishna can give. The devotees worship this month with all attention and care. So this is where we were last week. Now, just to remind you that these narrations are happening in Naimisharan. Sud Goswami is the speaker, and Shaunak Rishi and all the 88,000 sages are in the audience. So Sud Goswami is narrating the story of how Narad Muni goes to Narayan Rishi in Badrika Ashram. And Narayan Rishi then tells him, narrates this story of Lord Vaikuntadhipati going to Golok Vrindavan. And then he also tells this story that how Krishna himself met the Pandavas. So we heard this narration last week. Krishna benedicting Malmas, making her into Purushottam Maas and his consort, dearmost consort. And then empowering her to bless the devotees with all the blessing that Krishna can give. So Krishna went to Kamyavan when the Pandavas suffered the exile of 13 years. Krishna went to see them. And seeing the very precarious, miserable condition of Pandavas, Krishna was moved. He wanted to annihilate Duryodhana right away, and in his anger, it appeared that he will annihilate the universe. Because remember, his anger and his glance both are very powerful. As Lord Ramchandra, when he simply looked at the ocean in the Mahasagar, Indian Ocean, the entire ocean went into boiling point, and all the aquatics within the ocean started burning. So the personality of ocean came to Lord Ramchandra, Trahimam, my dear Lord, please protect me, please protect me. So he knew that Lord Ramchandra was so powerful. His glance, Lord Ramchandra simply looked at the ocean with angry glances. And the oceanic body of water went into boiling point. That's the power of his glance. Similarly, Kunti Maharani says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Ime Janpada Vradha Supak Ausadi Virudha. My dear Lord, in our kingdom, all the districts, rivers, the mountains, they are full of minerals and so much opulence because of one reason. This is because you have simply glanced over our kingdom with your mercy. So Krishna's merciful glance that can bring all the auspiciousness. And when Krishna is angry, his angry glance can bring annihilation. It says in the scriptures that Lord Anantshesh, Krishna, who is in the bottom of the universe, holding millions of universes on his head, facilitating the devotional service of all living entities. He wants that all the living entities should go back home, back to Godhead. And in order to do that, he holds these universes on his head. Although these universes, material universe on his head is like a mustard seed, not a big problem for him to hold, but he's holding them and holding all the living entities on his head so that they can perform devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead. But when he realizes that they are misusing the opportunity and enjoying the illusory pleasures of Mahamaya, he becomes slightly angry. So in his anger, slight anger, the fire of devastation comes from his eyes and burns the universe ablaze. The universe goes ablaze with fire. Sankarshan, Anantashes. So that's the efficacy, the power of Krishna's glance and his anger. So when the Lord was about to become very angry on Duryodhan, a Pandavas detected and they prayed to him with folded hands. They pleaded with him that please don't destroy this universe. And with their prayers and their devotion, the Lord became pacified. And he said to Maharaj Yudhishthir, Arjun, and all the Pandavas, that you are suffering because you have just ignored to worship Purushottam month, to observe Purushottam month, and you are suffering. Then the Lord turned to Duryodhana and Arjun and said, Arjun, do you know who your wife Draupadi is? And he started narrating the previous life of Draupadi. He said in previous life, Draupadi was daughter of a great saint, Medhavi Rishi. When she was a very young baby, her mother died. So she grew up in the ashram of her father, illustrious father, a great devotee, Medhavi Rishi. But Medhavi Rishi was too absorbed in his austerities. This beautiful girl was growing up. She would see her friends, she became young and she would see her friends getting married, they have children. But her father was completely indifferent. So she was very unhappy, very miserable. One day, it so happened that Medhavi Rishi was absorbed in his chanting. He chanted Krishna's holy name and left his body. So, having lost her parents, no husband, no elder brother, this girl became very morose. By the will of providence, and Durvasa Muni came to her ashram. And because she was trained by her father to honor the guests, she brought fruits and flowers and water, offered to Durvasa Muni and worshipped him. Durvasa Muni became very pleased with the worship and devotion of this young girl, and he said to her that, "O beautiful child, why are you so morose?" And she started crying in front of Durvasa Muni, So he asked her, "Why are you so morose? Why are you crying?" The girl said to Durvasa Muni, "O great sage, you can see past, present, and future. I have I have lost my parents. I have no elder brother. I'm not married. So you cannot imagine how miserable I'm feeling. So please tell me, how can I eradicate these miseries of life?" So Durvasa Muni said to her that in 3 months' time, Purushottam Maas is coming. Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and all living beings, all great saintly personalities worship this month, because this month is non different from Krishna himself. So you should worship this month by chanting Krishna's name, taking bath in the river, and performing devotional austerities. But she was just a young girl, teenager. Instead of becoming happy that the great sage had told her how she could free herself, she became angry and said to Durvasa Muni that you are lying. How could you say that this month known as Malmas, the stool month, can bestow any benediction to me? This month is not good, is inauspicious for all sorts of austerities. So why are you cheating me? Durvasa Muni became very angry. His body started trembling with anger, but somehow he controlled himself, because he knew this girl was not only a daughter of his dear friend Medhavi Rishi, but she was a young girl, and helpless. So he said to her that I'm not going to curse you, because you are daughter of my very dear friend, and you are in a very helpless condition. But you have offended Purushottam month, Purushottam Maas, so you will suffer some consequences. And by saying that, he left that place. So now this girl became more morose. And as soon as Durvasa Muni left, she lost all her opulence. Her body became very lackluster, and she became even more miserable, having offended Purushottam Maas. So she decided to perform austerities and please Lord Shiva, Ashutosh, Mahadeva. In the winter season, she would drown herself until up to her neck in the freezing cold water and meditate. In the summer season, she would ignite fire all around her in the scorching heat and meditate. So for 9,000 years, she was meditating and performing these austerities. The demigods became very afraid of her austerities, as they do when someone performs them. So Lord Shiva appeared in his spiritual form in front of this girl. She saw him in her meditation, then opened her eyes and found him. I was smiling at her. The Lord said to her that I'm very pleased with your austerities. So ask me any benediction you want. The girl said to the Lord, "O Lord, you know everything. I'm very dejected and miserable because I have no husband. So if you are pleased with me, then please give me a husband." She said, "Patim Dehi, Patim Dehi, Patim Dehi, Patim Dehi, Patim Dehi 5 times. Because her absorption was totally on getting a good husband. And Lord Shiva is the best person to pray for a good husband. And similarly, Mother Parvati is prayed to get a good wife. So people who are fruitive karmakandis, they worship the demigods with those kind of benedictions in mind. So Lord Shiva says Tathastu. He also explained to her that you ask for a husband 5 times, so you will get 5 husbands. The girl became completely ashamed and she started crying. She said, Lord, oh Lord, this is abominable for a woman to have 5 husbands at the same time. 5 husbands? This is abominable. Lord Shiva said that actually you have offended Purushottam Maas. So you will suffer some consequences. And he said, I cannot detract my words. And saying that, he disappeared. So now, although she had attained the boon she wanted to attain, she felt even more morose. What to do? So in a few days' time, while she was feeling very miserable, she left her body. And then in her next life, she appeared from the fire of sacrifice. Maharaj Drupad was performing a sacrifice to get his son who would be able to kill Dronacharya, his friend and arch enemy in battle. Because Dronacharya had insulted him, Maharaj Drupad, or he had taken his revenge by asking Pandavas, particularly Arjuna, to go and capture Drona in battle, living. So when Pandavas finished their education of archery, then Dronacharya asked for his Guru Dakshina. So he asked the Pandavas, particularly Arjuna, he said, in Guru Dakshina I want Drupad to be captured and brought to me living, not dead. So Arjuna went and he challenged Drupad Maharaj, defeated him, captured him, and he bound him up like an animal and brought him to Dronacharya. Then Dronacharya said to him that when I went to beg for a cow, ask for a cow from you as a friend, you told me that as a friend you could not give me a cow because we were not equal. Although you could give a cow, but you did not accept me as a friend or equal. So today, my disciple has defeated you. So you are not even equal to my disciple. Still, I accept you as my equal, and the kingdom my disciple has won from you, I give you half. So now we are equal. You have half of the kingdom, I have half of the kingdom. Both are equals. So now we are friends. So Drupad Maharaj had actually ignored Dronacharya and insulted him. So that way, Dronacharya took revenge. But Drupad Maharaj was very insulted. So he decided to give his daughter Draupadi. That's later on. So he decided to get his son who would be able to kill Dronacharya in battle. and he was performing this yajna. So from the yajna of Draupadi Maharaj, two personalities appeared. Drishtadumna, the son who would be able to kill Dronacharya, and Draupadi, the celebrated wife of the Pandavas. So Krishna said to the Pandavas that this Draupadi is none other than the daughter of Medhavi Rishi in her previous life. Now she has appeared as your wife. And she was insulted in the assembly of Kurus because of offending Purushottam. See, the Lord advised Pandavas. He said that all of you should honor, observe Purushottam, and by doing so, you will gain your kingdom back, and then in the end of your life, you will come back to me. So this Purushottam month is very important month. The scriptures, particularly Padma Purana and Brahmanardi Purana, state that all other months are not even 1/16 of Purushottam month. Any devotional activities performed in this month are very endearing to Lord Krishna, Lord Hari. And the person who performs these austerities and devotional service will live very joyfully in the material world, and in the end of their life they will go back home, back to Goloka. So there are three particular activities recommended for this month. First one is bath in a holy river. And bath means morning bath. So for those of us living away from the holy rivers in India, we can simply remember in the morning when we are taking bath. Ganga cha Jamune cha, Gange cha Jamune cha, Godavari Saraswati, Narmade Sindhu Kaveri, Jalesmin Sannidhim Kuru. So by remembering those rivers, or simply just by remembering those rivers when you are taking bath, that becomes bath in the holy river. Second, chanting of Krishna's holy names. Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare is the best mantra, Mahamantra. And any other mantras you choose to chant, stotras, mantras, so you can choose to chant, or reading Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing narrations of Krishna's pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures, narrating them and then narrating them yourself. And third one is giving charity. So charity particularly means giving charity in the mode of goodness or in the mode of devotion. Mode of devotion, that charity is very powerful. In Kali Yuga, the scripture says that any austerities you perform, even in your mind, will give you full results. But please don't think that you can give charity in your mind, although it will give you results. Just like Vasudevji, he gave charity in his mind, thousands of cows when Krishna was born, because he was imprisoned. So in a situation when he was not able to give physically, he gave mentally thousands of cows in charity. So that charity is acceptable. And in Kali Yuga, any devotional activity we perform in mind is acceptable. Just like on Ekadasi, devotees perform parikrama of Vrindavan or Govardhan, particularly Vrindavan parikrama. So I used to do Vrindavan parikrama on Ekadasi. But living in the West, you can't do it. So then in your mind you can perform parikrama of Vrindavan, Govardhan. That will give the full results of performing parikrama in Vrindavan. So charity must be given in the mode of goodness or in the mood of devotion. That charity brings auspiciousness in our life. And particularly in Purushottam Maas, please think of giving something, whatever little or big you can give. So give for the service of the deities, devotees, and for the service of Srimad Bhagavatam or Prabhupada books. So give something, that charity. So three things. The principle of devotion is anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam. Accepting everything which is favorable, rejecting everything which is unfavorable. So Purushottam Maas brings massive opportunity for the devotees to intensify their devotional service so we can purify ourselves and become eligible to go back home, back to Godhead. So I hope you will all take advantage of the massive opportunity that we have now, Purushottam Maas, followed by Kartik Maas. So please take advantage of performing Harinam Sankirtan, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, reading 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Purushottam Yoga, chanting extra rounds, performing devotional service by taking some vows, and giving up something for the Lord. When we give up something dear to us, the Lord becomes very happy. Just like Bhimsen, he likes eating. He likes eating very much. So one day in a year, he gave up eating. And because of that, he gets the result of fasting on all Ekadashis. So one day in a year, he said to Lord Vyasadeva, that, "Oh, grandfather, I cannot tolerate hunger because there is a fire in my stomach. And this fire is so intense that I cannot tolerate hunger." So Bhimsen is known as Brukodara. He eats like a brook, who eats very much. Brook, wolf, Brukodara. So Lord Vyasadeva said, okay, you only fast once in a year and you will get results of all the Ekadashis. So something has to be given up, something dear to you, or something you are attached to should be given up. And something positive should be accepted. So as we mentioned, chanting more, performing more Harinam Sankirtan, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, absorbing in Krishna's pastimes. So chanting and hearing, giving charity, and taking early morning bath, remembering the holy rivers. So these will purify us and make us dear to Krishna. Hare Krishna. Now there are a few minutes left. So we'll leave these few minutes for comments and questions. Okay, so you can put your comments or questions in the comment box. If there are no questions, then I can probably carry on for a few more minutes. So some devotees wonder that Kartik month is so dear to Krishna because this is the month of Radha Rani. Radha Rani is known as Kartik Devata. So here we have double advantage. We have Purushottam month, Krishna's month, and then we have Kartik month, Radha Rani's month. So we can worship Radha and Krishna both by observing Purushottam month first and then Kartik month next. So devotees to become eligible for pure devotional service. Okay, so we have 5 minutes left. There seems to be no question. So I'm just going to wait for your questions or comments. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Sometimes when we hear the narrations from the scriptures, then people normally think that, okay, how can this be? That if you just observe Purushottam Maas, you will go back to Godhead. Yes, we have to have faith in the words of the scriptures. So Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. If the scriptures are saying that this month will make you dear to Krishna, so we have to have faith and observe this month with that faith, that we will become dear to Krishna. And by Krishna's mercy, by the mercy of this Purushottam month, we will achieve our destination, a pure devotional service unto the lotus feet of Krishna. So there are no questions yet, no comments. So I'll just give you a couple of more minutes, and I think then you will have Arti. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. As we were hearing the narrations of Purushottam Maas, we noticed that the dearmost devotees of the Lord, like Pandavas, how attentive and careful they are in following all the rules and regulations of devotional service. And this is how they attained the Supreme Personality of Godhead as their most worshipable Lord. And Pandavas were favored so much by Krishna because they were such wonderful devotees. So even at that stage, when they are the dearmost devotees of Krishna, and they have become his associates, even at that stage, they are so attentive and so careful to follow the rules and regulations of devotional service, such as Ekadasi, Purushottam Maas, and many other regulations. So devotional service is always increasing. Krishna is increasing all the time. So devotional service should always be increasing. So even if we have performed devotional service for 30 years, 35 years, or 40 years, now we should come to a platform where we need to perform devotional service with more intensity. And Purushottam Maas brings that intensity to us. So it's a very good opportunity to now intensify our devotional service. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, your microphone is not on, I think.
Hare Krishna. Can you hear me now, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes. Yeah.
There was an outstanding question from last week which somebody was asking about which is more important, I think. Was it the Purushottam month or the Kartik month? Somebody was asking, but the question never got asked.
Okay. So what is more important, Purushottam month or Kartik month?
Hanji.
In comparative ways, according to Padma Purana and Brahmanadi Purana, Purushottam month is more powerful, and all other months, including Kartik, are only 1/16 of Purushottam month.
Gauranga.
So Purushottam month is the topmost month. Secondly, Kartik month comes every year, but Purushottam month only comes once in 4 years.
Yeah.
So we should take advantage. Okay, there was another question, how Purushottam month appeared. I think I have told this story last week. So Purushottam month was created by the will of providence. And because it is the extra month in a Vedic calendar, it was rejected as Maas or stool month. We heard this last week.
That's right.
Yeah, and since this month was rejected by everyone as inauspicious, so that the personality of this month, female personality, goes to Vaikuntha, and then Lord Vishnu takes her to Krishna and Golok Vrindavan, where Krishna accepts her as one of his consort and become the husband of this month, and then gives all his powers to this month and his name, Purushottam. So this is how this month appeared in a nutshell.
Jai, thank you very much, Prabhu. I think that's answered the questions. So that was a